Alright, so my theme is exploring passion through struggle and sacrifice. And since I'm not really much of an artist, I decided that for each character or each like main character, I would write a haiku about them and talk about how all these characters experience um, some sort of struggle. They're very passionate about something, and a lot of them experience sacrifice. Yeah. So to make this kind of go fast, let's see. Um, the priest is passionate about what he does. Every time he lets someone into his home, he doesn't know too much about. He's sacrificing his own comfort, and of course he sacrifices candlesticks to Jean Valjean, because he feels like this is what is right and that's what he's passionate about. And he helps other people with their struggles, and this is something that he's always been aware of. Fantine, she obviously, we know how bad she struggled, trying to take care of her daughter. She's passionate about taking care of her daughter, and she's willing to sacrifice everything that she has, all her respect for herself, everything that's important for her, everything for her daughter. Jean Valjean, obviously, lots of struggle, being in the prison system and trying to find a new sense of identity, trying to just escape from Javert. He's very passionate about, at least once after he's been with the priest, he is passionate about doing the right thing, giving to others, being selfless, and sacrificing his own comfort and safety, sacrificing what it takes to sacrificing what he needs to in order to take best care of Cosette and to live up to what Fantine's expectations were for him. The prisoners, they know all about struggle. They know about, and they become very passionate about how terrible the prison systems are, because once they get out of prison, they realize it doesn't matter. They're still treated like a prisoner outside of it, and that's what they sacrifice when they do something that makes them get caught in jail. Javert is very passionate about the law, and even though we think that he's a little too passionate about following it to the letter, he does have a lot of struggle that he experiences because of this, and especially during the song, and at least the section about his suicide, we know that he struggles trying to reconcile how his thinking is, and what he thinks is the right thing to do, what he figures out, or what he determines is right from wrong, versus what Jean Valjean thinks. And he struggles a lot with that. He has that internal struggle, and he does ultimately sacrifice himself because he can't figure it out. And he sacrifices a lot that he could be experiencing and growing from, but he never has the opportunity to. Mr. Thénardier, he struggles, obviously, because they're not very... this couple is not very rich. They struggle because they have a terrible reputation. They're passionate for selfish reasons, because they want to take care of themselves. They try to take money from other people. That's what those games and those tricks that they play, that's what they're passionate about. And they sacrifice all chances of building up a good reputation, having respectable sort of in their careers that they've had. They sacrifice having good relationships with their children. This is stuff that they're missing. And it's not being corrected by society. Cosette knows about struggle because she knows what it's like to run away. She knows what it's like to have terrible parents that don't care about her. She knows... She's also very passionate about Jean Valjean because she knows maybe not everything about him for the majority of her life, but she knows that he cared about her a lot, and she cared about him back. She was his inspiration, basically, and then she becomes the inspiration for Marius, and she's their light. She's their reason to live, and she knows that they take care of her, and she's very grateful for that as well. I bring in the children in this too because I think this is a big group of people that Victor Hugo wanted to talk about in his novel. They know struggle. They know what it's like to be hungry and have to fend for themselves. They know that they feel like either their families can't take care of them, or they don't have parents or families, anyone to take care of them, take care of themselves. They're passionate, kind of like the Thénardiers. They're passionate for themselves, or trying to entertain themselves and this might be just because they're immature and they're children, and it's not really fair to judge them in that way. But how the theme of sacrifice ties into them, it's not necessarily that they're sacrificing a lot because they don't have very many options, but it's the fact that society hasn't given them any resources or had any institutions, given them education, nothing like that. There's nothing to help them, and that shows they don't really value their children, and they're really missing out on investing into the future generations of France and trying to really address the issue of abandoned children and poverty. Marius, he knows struggle because of not just some family issues there, but he struggles with the ABC, passionate about that, and then his passion for the Republic is kind of overshadowed by his love for Cosette, and that becomes his new passion, and he realizes that he has someone else to devote his life to, and that's pretty admirable as well. He's not touched as much, like personally, from struggle and sacrifice, but he's around other people that do, and his life is affected by those that do. They always say they struggle to get their voice heard. They struggle in their attempt at a blockade. They're very passionate about what they believe in, and they're willing to sacrifice everything. They know that even if their blockade is hopeless, they have hope that someone else will take up their cause and replace them in the future. Gavroche I included because he's like the other kids, that he knows the struggles, what it's like to live on the street. What's interesting is that he gets caught up in the passion that he finds, like he's attracted to the ABC because of their passion for their cause, and I think that's instills some sort of hope in him. It gives him a reason to later sacrifice himself. And as much as it pains us to see that part in the movie where he gets shot and died, or to read about it, I think that's one of the great parts about this character, and I don't think that we would respect Gavroche or think of him as much if that hadn't been included. Eponine, she struggles because her family is caught up in a weird business that she doesn't want to be a part of. She is in love with Marius, who's not in love with her back, and this is a terrible problem for her, and she eventually thinks it's better to sacrifice herself for what looks like the cause of the Republic in order to take herself out of the misery of not being able to have that love that she wants from Marius. And that's pretty much it. So just as a wrap up, the themes I looked at were passion, struggle, and sacrifice, and I wrote a few haikus there. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks.